Hey everyone, welcome to a new video, welcome to my channel. My name is Mike and today I'm going to be talking to you about pretty or like special editions that I have on my shelves, save for Harry Potter, because I want to do a separate Harry Potter collection video at some point in time. But today I just thought we could talk about books that I have because they are pretty. I haven't read them. Or I did read them and I liked the book, but some of these books I also already read, wasn't a huge fan, but the reason why they stay on my shelves is because they have very pretty sort of covers. So some of these were like straight up cover buys, and I think, save for like a handful of books, I think I've read most of it. So I'm just going to start with what's on the top, and the first one is this super vintage edition of Edgar Allan Poe Tales. So it has like all of his tales in here, but this book looks positively creepy, and it also like it keeps on going on the inside because it has, let me show you some of these like pages in here. It has all of these black and white prints in them, like scattered throughout the book. Of course right now I can't find any. Here we have one, I think. Yeah. So it has all these like super spooky sort of things. So I believe this is from the 1970s. I picked this up from a secondhand bookstore when I was still a student. I love me some Edgar Allan Poe. He is one of my favorite authors for sure. And this just, I think, goes really well with his kind of writing. I have another like Penguin edition of Edgar Allan Poe stories, but to have this sort of complete, unabridged version of his stories in a decidedly creepy edition, I think is pretty cool. Then a cover buy for me was this, Lockwood Co by Jonathan Strout. This is a 5-book series and I've read and enjoyed, like not just enjoyed, I loved all 5 of these. And I wasn't really sure what this was about because it says hauntings are our business, and it has this boy on the front with yeah, well, it's called a rapier, like a type of sword. And then it looks very sort of Victorian. So going by the premise on the back, I was like, I couldn't really decide in what time period this was set. But this sort of captured my interest. And I think this is the Lockwood from the title of the series. And I think his name is Anthony. Anthony, indeed. Anthony Lockwood. And he fights ghosts in this alternate universe where ghosts are a problem, and you have all these agencies who are trying to deal with the problem. And in this world, the people who can see the ghosts are children and teenagers. Once you become an adult, you stop seeing them. You can sense them, as in you can sort of feel cold spots, but you can't actually see the ghosts. And that's why all of these agencies employ children and teenagers to fight the ghosts. And this boy has just decided to start his own agency, and we follow Lucy, who on her journey to London joins his agency, and it sort of starts there, and you just get lots of like adventure-based sort of stories, and these are great. If you're looking for a fantasy series, YA, that is just super action-packed and thrilling, and it has ghosts and lots of like rapier action and like banter between characters, not too much romance, this is lovely. Another sort of like favorite series that I definitely bought because of the cover is The Strings of Murder by Oscar de Muriel. This is the first book in the Freya McGray series. I just picked up the last one, which I still have to read. So there's already 5 books out, but these covers of every single one of these books is absolutely stunning. A friend of mine actually tipped me off on this series, so I didn't just pick it up because of the cover, but hey, if a series has such a stunning cover, what's not to love? So The Strings of Murder by Oscar de Muriel, but every single book in this series has a really nice sort of, well, cover that I think also goes with the story, so yes. Oh, and by the way, if you don't know what this series is about, because I have read the first 4 books, I just haven't read the 5th one yet, because it just came out in paperback. This is about Freya McGray. It's set in Edinburgh at the end of the 19th century, and Ian Frey is a police constable in London, actually, but then his life falls apart and he has to move to Edinburgh to sort of escape that, and then he joins Nine Nails McGray, called that way because he only has 9 fingers. And he runs the paranormal department of the Edinburgh Police Department. And he is a very firm believer in the paranormal, and Ian Frey isn't. So they sort of clash, and it's sort of like Scottish, like hey ho lassie kind of stuff as well. So it's a really fun one, great banter between the two, and every case has sort of like in the end some sort of like scientific meaning, and it's sort of also based around science that Victorians actually found out. So like in the 19th century these things were first discovered, so it's very cleverly done, super fun to read. Yeah, these are just really great books. Something I've also read is the first book in this, I believe it's supposed to be a trilogy, The Gilded Wolves by Roshani Chokshi. I read this, I think, last year, and I was looking for something that could be like Leigh Bardugo's, what's the first one called? The Crow one, the band of people who, I forgot, hold on. Six of Crows, that's one, the duology. That one I loved. I love a good heist story, I just do. This, I wasn't too intrigued with. I felt that it took a couple of very easy turns. I wasn't super invested in the characters. And in the end, I just didn't want to continue with the series. But the reason why this book is, of course, on my shelves still is this gorgeous foiled covering, because it's just, this cover is stunning. So they got one thing right. Then we have a cover by that I haven't read yet. This is The City of Girls by Elizabeth Gilbert. I just really like the colors of this. I spotted this in my local bookstore and I was like, yep, need to get it. No clue what it's about. Then something I've read is this entire trilogy, which every single one of them having gorgeous layouts. I am not someone who seeks out hardcovers, but for this series I did. It's the Illuminate Files by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. And this just, if I take up the cover, like, it has all this writing on it, but because of the cover, it sort of shows you exactly what you need to see. And then also on the inside, of course you will get the inside in the paperback as well, but I really just got it for that plastic cover. And then in the inside you get everything. This entire story is like told through logbooks and pictures and diagrams and chat rooms and like different things. So it's a beautifully laid out story. It's like a mixed medium kind of story the way it's told, and that's why I wanted to very deliberately buy all of these as hardbacks, because they're stunning. Then also for me, a series with great covers is the Red Queen series by Victoria Aveyard. Not a lot of people like this because it was very tropey to them. At that point in time, I just hadn't read that much YA fantasy yet, so for me they weren't too tropey at all. I really liked it. I did think that the later sort of books got a bit draggy, but I do think that in the end, the way everything wrapped up, she didn't take the easy way out, I think. Even though there's a couple of things where I'm like, you could have done that differently, but the covers of these are also stunning. This is a hardback that I picked up when I was in the States, so I think the European editions may be slightly different, but it has this really nice foiled crown on the front, and then this metallic cover, so I love this series, but I also really like the cover. A book that I read but didn't enjoy very much is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I decided against reading the other books in this series because I just felt that this was a bit convenient. It took the liberty of putting in plot twists for the sake of putting in plot twists. Not really my favorite thing, but the reason why this is still on my shelves is because this has such gorgeous cover. Like this is just a really gorgeous cover. Another book that I was a bit on the fence about is The Essex Serpent by Sarah Perry. This is one of those historical novels where the blurb in the back is just a million times more interesting than the book itself. This gives you the mystery also from the title of The Essex Serpent, and I felt that that played too small a role in the story itself. But the cover. The cover, as White as gets to say, this has some green foiling in the serpent that is on the front, and I just think that I still enjoyed the story, don't get me wrong, I still liked it. It's just that I had expected something differently from reading the blurb and the title of the book. It's just that a book this stunning has to stay on my shelves. Then a very recent book that I purchased is Waken Hurst by Michelle Paver. I didn't know I was buying this cover, so I was a bit surprised to get it in this edition, but I think it's a stunning edition actually. It has some silver foiling, this castle in the background, and then sort of like heraldic kind of pattern that goes around the book. So this was one I'm very chuffed with that they actually sent me this one, because I think it looks better than the original one that I thought I was gonna buy. And then another vintage find, Little Women by Lisa May Alcott, I think her name is. This is one that just kind of falls apart, but I've had this for years, and it comes in this really cute little hardback. I'm pretty sure this was supposed to come with a dust cover, but this is from the Lily series from Wardlock & Co. That's the publisher on it. I'm not sure how old it is. I couldn't really find it in here. But this is just one of those like super fragile, like old-fashioned books, and I think that this is a stunning edition. Another book that I read but didn't like but has stunning, stunning design to it is Tangled Webs by Lee Bross. This is a YA historical fiction story that was just not great, not very well written. It's supposed to be set in like 16th century London, I believe, but it could have been like every century since the Middle Ages. That's how it felt. So it wasn't really well fleshed out, but also inside, like it has this pink sort of paisley, lacy kind of design. And then on the inside, each chapter, let me see if I can show you this. So it has all these like designed pages all throughout the book as well. So this is a very, very pretty book. This was a complete cover buy. I had never heard of this book. I spotted it in Barnes & Nobles when I was in Chicago years ago, and I was like, I need to have this. All right, so my camera cut off, so I'm gonna have to redo this one, but one book that I also have for looks more so than for reading is this fully illustrated edition of the Cimorelli by J.R.R. Tolkien. I picked this up for a whopping €2 at my local thrift shop. It's an edition from the 1990s, so I think it's been out of print for years. It has this elfish writing in like silver foiling at the top. And then it has really stunning end papers because it has the whole map here, and then it also has some map illustrations here. But where it's at with this one is that it just has all of these gorgeous illustrations throughout the book. That's why I sort of picked this up for very cheap. I just think that this is a good edition to have, you could say. So that is there. And then another thrift shop find is Dan Brown's Inferno in this stunning hardback edition. I do have to say that I've never actually read this. I did see the movie. I like the Da Vinci Code well enough. I think I still have that on my shelf somewhere. But I quite like this. And so this whole series, like I stopped sort of reading it after like the 2 or 3 books or so. I don't think I ever read The Lost Symbol, and I don't think I'll read this anytime soon, but this was just too gorgeous of a cover to give up. And then I have one more for you, which is also a very recent purchase. This is Kristen Hanna's The Nightingale. Again, I didn't know I was going to get this gorgeous edition. It's especially the spine here. So it's not really focusing on, maybe I should do it like this, but especially the spine here is really pretty. It has this like gold foiling and this like light blue edge to it. Super stunning. The book itself is just the cover I think it's supposed to have. It's nothing special other than that, but this spine is absolutely gorgeous. So there you have it. Those are 15 books on my shelves that are sort of like special to me because they have gorgeous covers. And that's one of the reasons why I will not likely get rid of any of these. I have to say I'm a bit of a nerd for that. So if I have a pretty book, I like to stare at them for a long time. So I hope that's not too weird. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know in a comment down below if you have any like special or pretty editions that you hold dear. And maybe we can chat about that in the comments. That would be fun. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you stay safe, stay healthy. Bye for now, and I hope to see you next week.